However, you can find buildings like this renting out studio space to industrial startups. In fact, there are so many, it has inspired one guy to create a tour called Made in Brooklyn.
The slogan for my tours is "See who's making it in Brooklyn." That means that we don't necessarily see how things are made. It's all about seeing who's behind all of this, so that people can get an appreciation of how things are made, what it takes to start a business and run a business in Brooklyn, New York.
Today's tour brought us to Liberty Warehouse, located on Pier 41 in the historic shipping yards of Red Hook, Brooklyn. Constructed in the pre-Civil War 1850s, buildings like these were referred to as stores, as they stored goods such as coffee, spices, and other dry goods. But today, the stores inside offer much, much more.
The first stop on our tour is Steve's Authentic Key Lime Pies. Now, Steve is from Florida, and he came up here to New York City in the mid-1990s, and he started a business making authentic key lime pie, just like they make in Florida. In fact, I think it's actually better.
Now in these parts, Steve is known as quite the character, and on the day we visited, he had just embarked on a road trip to Mexico in search of arts and crafts to house in the soon-to-open gallery next to the bakery. Whoa! But worry not, Steve's wife Victoria was there to welcome us. It smells so good in here. She ushered us into the kitchen where we could see the pies being made. But then she raised our food freakometer when she started talking about the swingle. Swingle? What's a swingle?
The key lime pie dipped in dark chocolate.
What?
On a stick.
What?
And
Key lime pie dipped in dark chocolate on a stick?
Yeah. And I always tell my customers, are you ready for this? Because this is addictive. Are you ready to just be coming back and like a drug dealer, just like,
give me my key lime pie on a stick.
Yeah,
I'm ready to be indoctrinated. I'm ready to start the addiction. I'm nervous because I live far away. The swingle. The swingle. 3, 2, 1. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Victoria, you're right.
how do you like it?
That is so good. We will be back.
Yes, we'll have that.
That's the best pie in the stick I've ever had. Next on our Made in Brooklyn tour, we headed up the freight elevator to check out a woodworking collective and met Jeremy Pickett of Pickett Furniture.
I've been a furniture maker for about 12 years now. Before that, I spent my 20s in the music business.
So this was a reinvention after...
Well, I spent my summers in college working in construction, and so when I wasn't touring, I was always like falling back on those hand skills. And then it finally evolved when we bought a house here in New York and we were renovating it, that I found it a lot more fun just to work with my hands than work with musicians.
You could say Jeremy has come full circle. He still works closely with an audio engineer, and last year they came up with this collaboration, a furniture entertainment center, the kind that used to be the centerpiece of many living rooms 50 years ago. The difference is that along with vinyl, it also plays digital tunes. But here at Pickett, everything is a creative collaboration. Right next door, his wife has her own studio space.
She's a renter when she's here.
She pays top dollar,
Yeah.
doesn't she? What does she do in her space?
She silk screens t-shirts. They're all organic. You know, instead of having t-shirts printed up in these textile factories, wherever, all of her shirts are made here in the U.S. and all the inks are organic. So it's like a little green t-shirt company.
Love that. Next up, Dom and I headed to Flickinger Glassworks. You may never have heard of them, but this is where some of New York's most iconic structures have been restored.
We're an aggregate of 6, 7 different glass bending shops that used to exist in New York, and we're the ones that are left.
You're the surviving glass bender.
I'm the last glass bender standing.
When the city needed to rebuild the clock at Grand Central, they came here. And when they needed to restore the Bleecker Street subway station, again they called Flickinger Glassworks.
The difference between glass bending and glass blowing is temperature. We're starting with flat sheet glass, we're putting it on steel molds, we're heating the glass up to around 1200 degrees Fahrenheit and bending it into shapes like glass bowls, sections of cylinders. We have molds here from the 1830s and 1840s that we are still using.
And at this shop overlooking the water is the only showroom in the world where you can buy their products, making this a true New York institution and destination. Okay folks, it's the end of our day and the last stop on our tour takes us to the perfect place to try a little wine. Red Hook Winery is the creation of Brooklynite Mark Snyder, who after years of playing with music legends like Billy Joel and Peter Frampton, was tired of life on the tour bus and decided it was time to make wine from New York vines.
We make wine from 100% New York grapes. 99% of them are from the North Fork of Long Island. And we have one small vineyard that we work with in Finger Lakes.
Now, having spent much time on Long Island researching the wineries for this show, I know firsthand what amazing wine these locally sourced grapes can make. And that's exactly why Mark is heading up his operation right here in Red Hook. Mark gave us a tour of the winery, which was in full production mode. And when it came time to taste, he even got me to enjoy Chardonnay. That's good. I'm not usually a huge Chardonnay drinker, but that's very nice.
We don't make rich, buttery, oaky Chardonnays. We make Chardonnays that are Long Island Chardonnays. To load it up with a bunch of sweetness and oak doesn't make a lot of sense.
Next was a Merlot with grapes from Jamesport Winery in Ketchaw.
You get to the bottom of this on a cold winter night.
We try.
Yeah.
We try.
Mark, Tom, thank you guys very much.
Thank you guys.
All right, now you
Cheers.
guys got to
Cheers.
check out his tour, Made in Brooklyn. This has been a fun day. Thank you so much, Tom.
You're welcome.
Coming up, we are taking a ride on custom-made bikes made right here in New York. We paddle up the river in a handcrafted wooden kayak, but first, Toni on Trivia. Now, all real New Yorkers should know this. What iconic cookie was made in this former factory that now houses the Chelsea Market? Think you know? Answers on Facebook at the end of the show.